Hello and welcome to The World this week here on France 24. I'm Marco, and four of the best editorial minds in Paris are here to slice and dice the news and all its implications. They are, in no order of preference, but I'm starting with Julie. Julie Owono, head of the Africa desk at Internet Without Borders. Lovely to see you.
Thank you.
Directly opposite, Christopher Dickey, foreign editor of the Daily Beast. Pleasure to see you, sir. Pierre Aski is journalist and co-founder of the French news website Rue 89.
Hello.
Street 89.
Yes.
Great to see you, sir. I haven't seen you for a while. Good to see you. And last but definitely not least, Régis Le Sommier, associate editor-in-chief of Paris Match magazine. Great to see you, sir. And this is the moment when I realise I'm definitely not the most clever person in the room. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you very much indeed. We're going to start with, surprise, surprise, Donald Trump. Never a day seems to go by without some fresh twist or turn from the Trump White House. Never a day goes by without someone saying they just can't believe what's going on there. The news conference on Thursday took everyone by surprise, given the scale and the tone of what was taking place. Before I let these four guys loose, let's take a quick look and listen to some of what Trump had to say.
I just want to let you know, I inherited a mess. Mike Flynn is a fine person, and I asked for his resignation. I said, I don't think he did anything wrong. If anything, he did something right. Well, the leaks are real. You're the one that wrote about them and reported them. I mean, the leaks are real. You know what they said. You saw it. And the leaks are absolutely real. The news is fake. The press has become so dishonest. This administration is running like a fine-tuned machine. The media is trying to attack our administration because they know we are following through on pledges that we made, and they're not happy about it for whatever reason. Where are you from?
BBC.
Okay. Here's another beauty.
Are there any mistakes in that?
Wait. I know who you are. Just wait. Quiet, quiet, quiet. See, he lied about he was going to get up and ask a very straight, simple question. So, you know, welcome to the world of the media.
Okay, so John McCain, the Republican senator and war hero, who one of Trump's supporters on one of our debates this week described as, well, a non-entity, said that the Trump White House is in disarray. He's repeated that today. It's just on the wires in front of me. And I'm wondering whether it will turn out to be a house of cards and all come tumbling down at some point. Let's bring in our team to talk about that. Christopher, I'll ask you, because you were watching very intently Donald Trump speaking then. What were you left with at the end of the Trump press conference?
I was left with something that's a little different than what you saw there. I thought that his core supporters, listening to the same press conference that we listened to, would come away from it thinking he was right, not that he was crazy. I listened to it and I think it's incoherent, he's babbling, he's always been a transparent personality. It's like you wouldn't need to put him on the couch, he's already going through psychotherapy in front of you. But I think that his core supporters listen to what he's saying and they believe it. They believe that the press is lying. They believe that he's treated unfairly. They believe that people hate him for no good reason. If they can't follow him, well, that's just the way he is. And I think it's a danger for the press to just assume that we can listen to this press conference and say, let's make fun of him. He's crazy. This is nuts. The whole house of cards is going to come down, because it's not going to come down. And his core supporters are gonna hang tough.
Any thoughts?
I agree completely with Christopher that the supporters of Donald Trump will like what they see. And the same is the case here with Marine Le Pen. We don't like the way Marine Le Pen talks about French politics, but some people who like her will buy anything she says, and even her style, which is offensive to the rest of the political elite. And we have a very similar situation there. What is strange in the US situation, and I don't know how it's going to turn out, is that the establishment, the Republican establishment, is increasingly worried about the way things are messy at the White House, the contradictions in politics between the Secretary of State and the President, or the Secretary for Defense. And there will come a moment when there will be clarification of this. Which way it's going to take, I'm not sure. And I'm not enough into the Washington mind to know. But definitely that's where I think we have to wait for something, because the Republican establishment is totally panicked by all this.
Panic behind the scenes of the Republicans. Christopher saying that it isn't a house of cards, it's not going to come down. In my previous life as a sports reporter, I had some ear chewings from soccer managers in press conference situations. I've never seen a politician behave in this way, let alone a president. How does it leave you, Julie?
Well, it's very disturbing indeed. We were discussing this a bit earlier before the show. It's absolutely. I was wondering whether we were watching a press conference by the president of the free world. We asked. I asked the question a bit earlier, but what I see mostly is really a president who is usually, when a president is elected, he has a sort of post-election honeymoon when he's well elected, I would say, which is probably not the case of President Trump, whose election is being questioned by the FBI, by the CIA, by even the people. I mean, he's a president who's faced such huge protests in such a short amount of time. So he's certainly, by doing this, he's certainly trying to probably galvanize again his electorate and, feel that he's supported somewhere in the country by some people. But obviously, it does not give a good image of the United States, obviously, and it will justify behaviors attacks on the free press that have been criticized in countries that we call dictatorship, and rightly so. Doing this in a country such as the United States is really a backing signal for the rest of the world.
Criticised by the FBI, criticised by the Democrats. Lord forbid that the press should criticise the president, because obviously that puts us in a difficult situation. I mean, Regis, obviously this is meat and drink to you, criticising, sort of like the people and the great in power. I mean, how does it leave you feeling?
My feeling is that Donald Trump has not stopped campaigning, actually.
Yeah.
He's still running a campaign. He's there used to be a time where, especially in the U.S., when you become the president, and whoever you are, whether you can be a very controversial president like George Bush, for instance, well, you used to have people, from both sides of the aisle and even in the media saying, yeah, let's come together and we have to run this country and let's give him a chance. I don't think this time around nobody's giving a chance to Donald Trump, but I don't think Donald Trump wants them to give a chance. I think what he wants to do, really, and I think I agree with what Christopher said about his core supporter, I think he wants to maintain the link between himself and his supporter and go around the press. I don't think he cares about the press. He doesn't need it. He has not been elected thanks to the press. Let's remember how many media outlets endorsed Hillary Clinton. I think it was about 180. Only 2. The New York Post and the New York Observer, who I believe belonged to one of his cousins, endorsed Trump. This time, when you're a Trump supporter, you see a mess like the press conference of yesterday with alongside with Benjamin Netanyahu, on key issues, like the two-states policy. And it seems that Donald Trump doesn't really care of whether it's two-states policy or not.
Two-state, one-state.
As long
as they're happy, it's fine.
It's fine. But Rush Limbaugh gave him an A+, saying, that was a cool press conference.
But didn't we know that he would do that? It's predictable, isn't it?
Yeah, but so my point is that he wants, and Rush Limbaugh is the core supporter of Donald Trump.
Exactly what he's saying.
So he's going to play that game because he knows he won't cozy up to the media. He knows that the New York Times is going to go against him, and they've been working. They've been doing a great job, actually, with the Mike Flynn downfall, working very, so it's a power game between the press and Trump, between a number of institutions and Trump. So who's going to win is,
Well, I mean, look, the other thing that he's doing is he's setting the press up as his enemy. Yeah. And making it responsible for any failures that he suffers. The most bizarre part of the whole press conference was when he was asked a very straightforward question about whether Putin was testing him, whether the Russian president was being willfully provocative by sending a spy vessel 30 miles off the coast of the United States, by shooting a missile that may be in breach of the treaty obligations, and by having one of his warplanes buzz an American warship. So it was a straightforward question. How do you respond to that? And Trump said it's the fault of the press. The press has been attacking him so much because of this Russian ruse, as he calls it, that Putin has just decided that Trump can't possibly reach an agreement with Russia because of the press, and therefore Putin is getting more aggressive. I mean, can I say it? How nuts is that? But for his core supporters, that makes perfect sense.
It gives him the ultimate get-out-of-jail-free card, doesn't it?
Gives him.
You can blame the bogeyman, the press, you, me, Regis, Pierre, Julie. You know, I mean, he's got that way out, hasn't he?
Tweet right after. That's what he does. You know, every time he wakes up, he tweets something, and then he talks freely to his
We should set up a
supporter.
fact-checking agency, because I think that's the next trend on Trump to make money.
But to second what Julie was saying, it gives an incredible example to the rest of the world, and you can see it in French politics. Blame the press, blame the judges, and they just take from Trump's book. You know, it's so easy, and it works, as Chris was saying. You know, to the core voters.
I thought for a second you were going to mention Brexit.
The Fillon campaign, you know, they're using that trick about, blaming the press for a number of things that's happening to them.
And probably we'll talk about it a bit later.
Let's talk about it now. Go ahead.
The role of Russia, of course, has been a bit dealt with within the discussion. But even, I think, for Putin himself, maybe Trump is uncertain. I was reading a report in French press on their first call, Trump and Putin, and Trump didn't even know about the treaty that was signed by Barack Obama and Dmitry Medvedev when Putin was prime minister. He put Putin on hold and saying that he needs to update himself on the treaty. So even for someone who's supposed to have helped you.
One of the things in the press conference, I mean, the most embarrassing moment for him was after he said again and again, as he said on the campaign trail many times, that he's more popular. And then he says, and I got more electoral votes than anybody since Ronald Reagan. And so a reporter said, well, no, that's not true at all. I mean, you know, and he cited the exact numbers. And Trump suddenly said, well, I heard somebody told me that. Somebody said that. Somebody said that?
And the president talking in that loose manner, that lack of accuracy.
Isn't it called the post-truth era?
Yeah. Well,
Whose era?
It is.
I hope not.
However, I would say that you're going to be looking. I mean, in the next couple months and years for elements of stability in that. That's what. I believe somebody like General Matisse, for instance, is somebody who's going to run the Pentagon in a very rational way. I mean, he's a Marine, and he's known for doing. And Marines, they plan things ahead. And the conference, the speech he gave, it delivered yesterday in Brussels, addressing NATO, was sort of like he didn't go against what Trump said about that the partners should pay more.
You have to pay,
but they're gonna have to pay. But however, he was a reassuring figure, and I think Matisse is a reassuring figure. Now, who's going to be the next NSC is going to be something very interesting. I mean, if Petraeus comes in the game, for instance, I believe Petraeus is is somebody who's respected in both aisles. He's respected by a number of people. He's known for having pulled taken the U.S. out of a wrong path in Iraq, and so he might be able to do something on national security. We're going to be looking for elements like this in this administration.
One would have hoped.
But the thing that concerns me is if you look at, let's say it's Petraeus, who actually I know personally, or Mattis in the Defense Department, or Tillerson in State. These are all, in their own ways, extremely capable guys, very good guys. How long can they work for Donald Trump? If you're in the state, I saw a report, and I don't want to sound like Donald Trump. I didn't have time to check it out, but that there was nobody from the State Department.
No, that's right.
At the talks with the Israelis, with Netanyahu.
Yeah.
Now, if you're Tillerson and you're responsible for State Department policy toward the Middle East, and they don't let any of your people in,
that's a problem.
It's a real problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a problem at the moment. I hear from French sources that they don't have anyone to talk to, and that's a bit embarrassing. Even the meeting between Jean-Marc Ayrault, the French foreign minister, and Tillerson was very disappointing because Tillerson is still discovering subject. He's very, he's been involved in
Look at the opinion-
oil for
look at
all his
what
life,
Trump-
and he almost didn't say anything during the meeting.
But that's a perfect illustration of what Trump thinks of France, for instance. He didn't give any interview to French press, like, other than one. He gave one.
Marine Le Pen.
No, that's right. That's right. So he gave one.
Actuelles.
Yeah, but Valeurs Actuelles was way back. That was during the campaign.
Yeah.
But ever since he got elected, he gave one interview to the British press, to the Sunday the Times, and he gave one interview to Bild Zeitung.
German,
That's it. Because in Europe, I don't think he gives any. He doesn't care about France.
Well, look at the way he treated the BBC correspondent in the press car.
Yes.
That was quite a put down, wasn't it? But I promise you
In
that
compared to
if I get a
CNN.
favourable reply if I get a favourable reply from Trump to my email, I'll take you along. And we can do it together, okay? We need to leave it there for the first part of The World This Week, but this great conversation resumes after a very short break. Stay with us.